G'day everyone, Mike here, checking out the Moog Mavis, the latest semi-modular analog Moog, and they're smallest and most affordable as well, which is nice. So it comes in a kit. You've got to put it together yourself. Don't stress though, you don't have to solder or anything like that. All you need is a Phillips head screwdriver. You do get this little tool as well to do all the jack nuts. That's probably the part that takes the longest actually, maybe 15 minutes all up though. The instructions are probably some of the best I've ever seen, so you're not going to stuff this up. Way easier than any flat pack furniture you've put together, I guarantee you. In the box you've actually got a bunch of stuff. You've got a dual-sided poster, you've got a postcard, you've got a sticker, you've got 6 patch cables, you've got power supply, you've got these patch cards as well that you can overlay on the panel to get you started, which is really cool. Well, let's check out the panel and see what we've got to work with. So we have a single envelope and LFO and a single VCO that goes through the classic Moog filter. Sounds lovely, as you would expect from Moog. And then you've got a whole bunch of patch points to work with as well. So we've got a few extra utilities in here that kind of open things up a fair bit as well. So you've got a mixer, an attenuator, a sample and a hold. You don't have a MIDI input, which has made a few people cranky, it seems, but I don't think it's a big deal. Like, if you're going to get into modular synths, they're going to use CV. That's just how it is. But the big news is that there's a wavefolder, and we haven't seen Moog tackle a wavefolder before. So Moog have traditionally stayed in their lane and stuck to subtractive synthesis, which is what Moogs always did. That's the process of taking an oscillator through a filter and filtering out harmonics, subtracting harmonics from a signal. But a wavefolder is an additive element, so it adds harmonics rather than subtracting them. It was heavily used by companies like Buchla and Surge. Like, they were the guys kind of in the 60s and 70s doing more experimental stuff and getting weird. So it's not patched in by default. You need to patch it in manually, but it's really easy. Just takes a single patch cable, just take your, say, your VCO to the fold in. So you can hear it adding harmonics as I turn the fold up there. So now we're going to jump to some patches, because I'm guessing you want to hear more of what this thing can do. I brought along some different color patch cables so you guys can more easily follow what I'm doing in the patch bay over here. And, you know, feel free to hit that like button so you can find this video again easily if you get a Mavis and you're looking for some patching inspo. Let's get to it. I hope you enjoyed those patches. I had a blast making them. It's a really fun little synth. I wasn't expecting to like it this much, to be honest. There's creativity to be found in its limitations, I think. And you could team this with another Moog synth or some Eurorack gear, and you'd be able to open it up even further really, really easily. Like adding a noise source would be really valuable, adding a sequencer would be valuable. So plenty of room for sort of expansion, but also a lot of fun just on its own. Which leads me to something else I wanted to talk about. Anytime a company releases a small little affordable gadget like this, you see a lot of grumblings on the internet from YouTube commenters and things like that, it's just a toy, you know, you can't make music with this. Well, let me tell you guys that little gadgets like this are absolute gold mines for making your own samples. I spent a couple of hours last night sampling Mavis into my machine, and I made a few beats just using Mavis sounds and nothing else. I'll show you guys. So still, all Moog Mavis sounds are processed with reverb and distortion and all that sort of things, but still, everything came from the Moog Mavis. So something much darker on this one, but for this one I used some weirder sounds, like the clicky percussion was one of the generative kind of sequences that came out of Mavis, and that big FM sounding drone with some distortion and reverb on it in the background. Yeah. Now, obviously, these aren't masterpieces. These are just some beats I came up with really quickly last night, so cut me some slack there. But my point was to show that the Mavis is an awesome sort of gold mine for sampling. Let's get this out of the way again. You know, it's got bags of character. It sounds fantastic. You can make all sorts of wacky sounds with it, as I demonstrated, and those kind of sounds have value when it comes to sampling. And I think making your own samples with something like a Moog Mavis is way more fun than scrolling through endless sample libraries. And, you know, the samples are uniquely yours as well. Whether it's into something like Ableton Live or Machine or a Roland 404, an Electron Digitact, Akai MPC, you know, there's plenty of sampling solutions, software and hardware based out there that can really work well with something like a Moog Mavis. So that's all for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in and checking out the Moog Mavis with me. I've had a really great time getting to know it. There's a really nice amount of possibilities with this little thing. So hit that like and subscribe for me, and I'll catch you next time.